Hi, I'm Charlotte Merrill, and this is our So Let's Be Friends podcast. This is a place where everyone belongs, and every story matters. Together, we celebrate our differences, bring awareness to disabilities, and build a more inclusive and supportive world. One conversation at a time, let's open our hearts and listen with kindness.
I like when people ask me about my crutches because they can get to know me, and I like having friends, so let's be friends.
This life is beautiful, and you are wonderful.
Hi friends, welcome back to So Let's Be Friends, where we show up for each other and learn through real stories. I'm Charlotte Merrill, and this is my mom. Today I'm talking with someone very special to our family, our piano teacher and friend, Charles Pandian. We started lessons with him virtually during a time when we didn't know what would work. And now, years later, we're playing music we never thought possible. Today, we're talking about music, the brain, and how growth can happen step by step. Charles, we're honored to have you here in our home. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from?
Hi, Charlotte. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm so glad to be here with you all today. My name is Charles Pandian, and I come from India, the southern tip of India. The place is called Coimbatore.
And he actually lives there right now.
Yeah,
He's not
you're
just
right.
from there, he actually lives there. He's
Exactly.
visiting the United States right now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I studied high school, and I just did diploma in electrical engineering. Then later I had a passion to learn music. So I did some, in India we appear for Trinity exams and for both theory and practical. So I completed my 8th grade, both in piano and keyboard. Then I also do some digital translation. And in my family, my wife is a teacher. My son is just recently graduated from BYU, Idaho. My daughter is in high school right now. And we are excited to be here in the United States of America.
We're glad to have you here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So if you don't know, we actually met him on a trip in Europe when we were
in Paris.
Yep,
At
2018.
the Paris Temple.
Yep, we were in Paris in 2018, and we just happened to basically bump into him, run into him. And I think he happened to notice our children, and we just had a beautiful conversation.
That's where our piano journey
began.
Started.
So it wasn't until 2020 when everything shut
The
down.
COVID-19.
Yep. So everything shut down. Our therapies went away. Everything went away. And that's when we reached out to Charles Pandian in India to see what magic he could support our kids with. So
when did your love for music and piano begin?
That's an interesting story. When I was a young boy, I was a member of the Roman Catholic Church, like where you go and be an altar boy or a choir boy. So I had a desire to learn music, but I didn't have the opportunity because we didn't have an instrument at home. So as I was an altar boy, I used to go to church during my free time. I just go and do some chores for the priests, like washing their cycles, cleaning their room. And then once I done all that work, I quietly ask a favor from the priest whether I can use the church organ. So that way I had a passion, then I had an opportunity to just move my fingers on piano or organ. So this is how it's all started. But later I had my friends, like they were able to teach me the rudiments of music. So this is how my piano journey started.
Wow,
That's wow. Where did you get your education from?
So the schools I did in Coimbatore in India, and later I had an opportunity to visit Denmark. So there I learned Danish, and also I received a 1-year diploma in electrical engineering. Then I had to come back. Then I was into music a lot. Then there was a group of people came from Royal College of Music, Stockholm, Sweden, to offer music projects in India. So they took me over to Sweden, Stockholm, and I learned the Swedish methodology of teaching music for especially the early beginners. So this is how my profession started. Then I graduated in actually it's kind of a distant learning um, uh, training. So finally I received a certificate from the Royal College of Music, Stockholm, Sweden. I was awarded as um, a, a teacher, piano teacher for the early beginners.
that's incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What made you want to teach, especially working with students with different abilities?
That's a good question. When I received the training from the Royal College of Music, Stockholm, they just asked me whether I would like to teach some of the kids back home in India. Then they gave me freedom to choose my students. Then somewhat I was associated with a Catholic institution. Then I used to visit some home for disabled. So I had friends over there. So we were talking about this casually, and those boys and girls expressed their desire to learn music. So I just thought of President Clinton's quote that he used to say when he visited Abu Dhabi. He said, "I see talent everywhere, but the opportunity is not equally distributed." So I thought of that. Then I said, why don't I teach these kids music? So I just passed that information to my professors in Sweden, and they were so happy about that. And this is how my piano teaching journey started with the special children.
I love that. I didn't hear that part of the story before. That's really special.
What do you remember on how we first connected for lessons?
Yeah, I remember during COVID 2020, I received a text message from your mom asking whether I'll be interested to teach their kids who has a challenge to move their fingers, coordination, all sorts of challenges. So since I had the experience to teach our special children back home, I thought, why not? Let me try this.
Were you nervous to do it, Charlotte?
Yes.
And I was concerned because Harrison, being a rambunctious little boy, I didn't know if virtually would hold his attention. So that was pretty.
Yeah, usually it'll be a challenge for me as a teacher to make piano student to sit on the piano. That even it's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then because you have to help them understand, to help them to know, to create that interest among them, it takes some time. So Harrison, I was a bit, because he was a very young boy, and I thought whether he would learn, but I thought maybe it's just a practice for him to know, just to sit on the piano, just move his hands and fingers on the piano. So this is how his music journey started. So Harrison, I have to tell him personally, because initially I thought maybe it takes some time for him to pick up piano lessons, but his rhythm is amazing and he sings pitch perfect. So that's the great talent for Harrison. I'm sure one day he'll be a great singer and he'll be a great accompanist. So he has that talent and ability.
Thank you. As a mom, to hear you say that, just Makes my heart so happy. So thank you.
Yeah. This is what I observed. Harrison has a unique talent.
Thank you.
Thank you. What were your first thoughts when you saw or how our hands were working at the time?
The one thing I noticed, I have to just, not the comparison, the experience I wanted to share. The students I taught back home, they were all the children who were affected by polio diseases. So their hands kind of stuck, and even they are not able to walk properly. They all used to crawl on the floor. So imagine they use their hands to crawl all the time, how rigid that would be. So then I was kind of disappointed. Did I make the right choice or a wrong choice? But I worked patiently with them, and they were able to slowly lift their hands up and place it on the piano. Slowly they are able to move their hands up and down like this. Then later it took some time for them to just move their fingers, and later they played piano. But you guys were just walking, right? Using crutches, you were walking beautifully. I thought it's not a big deal with Merrill. So
Yeah.
I remembered that you guys also had the same issues. Your fingers were rigid. Your fingers were not flexible to move independently on the piano keys. But it took time for me. You worked hard. You determined to practice, and I was there. And now you are playing piano after a few years.
That's been what, six years?
Exactly.
Yeah, 6 years.
Slow and steady.
2020, and now it's 26.
Yep. So slow and steady. Yes.
Slow and steady win the race.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly. Charlotte's quote. What is your quote you always say?
Forward is forward no matter the pace.
Yep. Little steps forward all the time.
How and why did you decide to start with us?
Yeah, as I said, how mom requested, then I didn't want to refuse it because I had the confidence that I could teach you all. So that was the one point. And why I want to teaching you music, I thought I can just compare a scripture from Matthew 25 about the Lord and his servants. So the Lord has given one of the servants 5 talents and 2 talents and 1 talent. So according to their several ability. So I didn't want to deny this opportunity. I know that you are physically challenged, but you may have certain ability to magnify it. So I wanted to make use of that opportunity, because I just wanted to instrument in God's hand to multiply your talent. Whether you were given just 2 talent, no matter, you're going to make it to 4. Instead of burying that 1 talent, I don't want you to be a slothful servant. So I want the Lord to be called good and faithful servant.
Wow, you know how to make a mom tear up.
Thank you.
To have someone else have that courage and desire for a child, huge.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
You started with finger exercises before even playing music. Why was that important? Because you are not an ordinary child. You have some issues with your physical ability about moving your body or moving your hands or moving your fingers. So it's good to start with fingering exercises before you play on the piano, because you may get disappointed or frustrated, because the moment if I make you sit on the piano and play something, your fingers won't move. So what you might think, oh, I don't get this, I don't want this. So to avoid that, I just started with you the fingering part, the fingering exercise, moving your hands up and down, left and right, and moving your fingers. So this is how I used to start with the children who have this physical,
But you don't just work with children, you work with adults as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I used to teach adult student as well, who has the same issues, physically disability. But More than playing music, it gives them confidence that they can also do something to improve their talent. So I'm happy with that kind of an idea.
I remember in the beginning, I remember you told me to go find little balls that would fit around their hands. And I had to go on this mission and I had to keep testing balls to
Yeah.
find what ball would fit right there. And you would do lifting finger exercises on the
Exactly.
ball.
Most of the time, because you need a curved finger to play any instrument, whether you play guitar or violin or piano, you need to curve your finger. That will not happen normally with these special children because they always keep their hands like this flat all the time. So that's the reason I asked mom whether you can just go and find a ball to keep it and just move your fingers up and down to have a curved hand and finger position.
Wow.
That's the technique.
What is happening to the brain when we practice those small movements in music?
A lot of things are happening. I'm not a therapist kind of a doctor, but what I noticed, your eyes sees the information in front of you, the sheet music, and your eyes sends that information to your brain. It thinks, it processes that information, gives command to your right hand to do like this way, to your left hand to do this way, to your right foot to press the pedal, and so on. So what I noticed, all these commands comes from the brain. So finally your body is able to receive those signals and it helps you to coordinate that movement. In summary, the coordination is what very important to play music. So all these signals or commands come from the brain.
But what I've recognized as a mom and as a teacher too, all those things that you're working with my children, you're talking about the coordination, it's really helped with like Harrison's handwriting, with the strengthening other things in their life, like even brushing their teeth, it strengthened their hands.
Exactly.
So it's not just stuck at piano and music afterwards. That is being taken into lifestyle and their skills.
Exactly. We call it the rhythm within our body, because when you brush your teeth, you just do it rhythmically. You walk rhythmically. Maybe, for example, anything you do, a small activities, you do it rhythmically. But the same rhythm is what needed when you play music, because you don't listen to the metronome all the time. That metronome should click here in your head or in your mind. So to build that skill is what we start with those exercises.
Thank you. And also Kalisha, my kids love that, and I don't think this is it necessarily, but they make these little notes back here. But he also teaches music theory. So my kids not only are learning, I mean, that's a whole nother part of the brain that they're working. Music theory I've learned, and I don't get to learn it because I don't have time to sit, and I want to so badly. One day I'll get to take a lesson, but it's a different language.
Exactly. It's a universal language, because when you learn music, when you learn how to write music or how to read music, you are a global citizen, because you just create your music, you send it to anybody in Japan or in Australia or in New Zealand or in Africa. So you can read, you can play their music. So you'll be a kind of a citizen in the global family.
I love that.
So this is how it unites. Music
Yes.
unites citizen all over the world. So that's why we call global family of musicians.
And that's what Kalisha is recognizing, being in Germany and Austria. Her music is translated equally over there in this global language like you're talking about.
Yeah. Because you learn English, the Africans may not understand you. If I speak in Tamil, you may not understand, but we can understand each other through music. So that's the idea.
Wow. Thank you.
We can express our feelings through music.
Yes, and understand each other through music.
How does piano help with coordination and development?
Interestingly, as I said before, when you do piano, you use your right hand and use your left hand, and sometimes you may use your right foot as well to press the sustain pedal. So this is not easy, because you read music, sometimes I've seen students, they love to play using both the hands, but when they use right hand, their left hand doesn't work at all. When they want to play something in the left hand, the right hand doesn't work at all. If I ask them to press the sustain pedal, they press the pedal, but the hands don't move on the piano at all. So, but if you train methodologically, I mean, using right hand first, then using left hand first, then slowly hands together, then later using your foot. So it helps coordinate your parts of the body. And this is what I feel coordination is all about. Later, you can play drums, you can drive cars. This helps you. This helps you a lot.
Tell him what your goal is after your service mission.
My goal is getting my driver permit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I have told you so many times, look at when you play music, always look ahead. Because when you drive a car, you look through the windshield and you process all the information what is ahead of you. And based on that, you press gas pedal or your brake pedal, right? So you have to coordinate your hand, you have to coordinate your foot, right? So playing music is going to help you a lot. I'm sure you'll be a safest driver in Snowflake.
Yes. And the thing is, it's not going to be a fast process. That's what we've learned.
Oh,
right?
Exactly.
Because you've seen as the piano, they're processing slow, but they're going to get there.
They will get it finally, I tell you. They'll be more confident because it's all about the process. Brain looks ahead of what's happening there on the road. Maybe traffic lights, anyone is walking, anyone is crossing at the zebra cross. So then you have to press the gas pedal or you have to press the brake pedal, and how the steering works, how you going to move your hands. So all this coordination, it's going to make you a safest driver here in Snowflake.
And that's where the piano comes in.
Exactly.
You've done exactly the right and the left and the pedal.
Yep. So what kind of evaluation I can give you right now? You already doing a good job. Your coordination is amazing. So because you play, you read music, you play right hand, you play left hand, not individually, but together. And your foot moves sometimes. So you don't have any issue to drive car in the future.
That's so
I'm
cool.
confident. I'm confident.
Thanks.
But it didn't just happen right away. It started with the ball exercises. It started with the finger
slow
exercises.
And steady.
What changes have you seen in us over the years?
Dramatic changes. I remember day one, you guys you had tough time to even sit on the piano for a long time. But I think you had that desire to do something. Maybe you have that willpower that you want to accomplish that goal. So that was the key all about. Then so later I see that you had struggles to move your fingers initially. You had a lot of struggle to understand the music sheet. I'm talking about how to read the music. So we focused a lot on that. Now after 5-6 years, all of you in your family, now you guys are all read treble clef, line notes, space notes, bass clef, line notes and space notes. And you don't not only read the music, you play on the piano by reading the music. So you're not playing from your hearing, but you read and play. That's not an ordinary talent. Not everyone can do this. Many can read music, but they cannot play on the piano. They play on the piano, but they don't read music. But you do both. So it's great
Thank
success.
you.
And that's why we like to focus on what your abilities are rather than what you can't do, because people have so many different talents. And if he hadn't taken the time to teach my kids these abilities, they wouldn't have these abilities.
Exactly. That's what maybe I may have to answer the same thing later. Not everyone has great talent. So some of them are, we call in school terms, higher achievers, middle achievers, lower achievers. But the teacher has to work a lot on the lower achievers, how to help that child to grow in academics or in any other activities or in any other skills. So anybody can teach the higher achievers, but teaching the lower achievers, the teacher needs tons of patience.
Yes, tons of patience. And there's teachers that don't have that talent to have patience.
Yeah, that is called teaching. This is what I learned from the Swedish people, teaching methodology for the early beginners. Not all the early beginners have great talents. Some of them, they don't want to learn music. Some of them, they think, oh, I don't think so I can learn music. So you have to really figure it out how the teacher can teach these children music. So they have to come up with some new ideas in every lesson.
Do you think that it's too late, because you refer to children a lot? Do you think adults still have a chance to learn?
Absolutely. One of my students back home in India, she was 70 years old.
70, like 70.
70. Because all these years she wanted to learn music, piano. People thought, this old lady cannot learn anything. But this lady called me and asked me whether I can teach her piano. I said, okay, fine. So I started her. Her goal is to play the national anthem of India. So in 6 months' time, reading music, she learned how to play the national anthem of India. So she played on the piano, recorded that, and sent it to her, I think the eldest son who lives in the US. Now, you know what did she get? She was gifted a beautiful sedan car.
Wow.
Yeah, because mom has accomplished her goal.
That's huge.
Yeah, so the son had gifted her mom a beautiful sedan car.
Wow, because he was so
for
proud
her
of
achievement.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, because they are wealthy family. They are
Okay.
very wealthy family. But
basically, you can always learn. It doesn't matter what age you are.
Exactly. What age you are doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as you have desire, time, that's it. If you could identify a good teacher, then your talent will be multiplied.
So
Yeah.
I still have a chance, is
Exactly.
what you're saying.
The challenge with adults, they don't have time. One, they don't practice. Because that's a challenge because they are already busy with their life. But the kids, if I teach or if I say something, they'll follow. But the adult, sometimes because of their busy schedule, they may not follow things.
Right.
What the teacher instructs. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Busy lives.
Yeah. What does it mean to you to see students from no sound to playing with both hands?
Yeah, first of all, that's what I have to appreciate you, Charlotte, and Caroline, and Harrison, also Kalesia. Yeah, initially no sound, because it was, I wouldn't say it was a sound, but later it was a musical note you produced, because when you played each note on a specific time, or we call it length of time or note value. So initially it was simply a sound. You move your fingers on the piano keys. It was just created a sound. But now it became a music. How? Because you understood the note and note value. You play that on the piano, and now you play beautiful music on both hands.
Thank you.
It was not a sound now.
It was a celebration. It was a celebration the day that she was able to play with both hands. We were cheering. I'll still never forget that. Because that meant lots of things.
They witnessed their accomplishment. So that's why they celebrated it. Yeah, I did it.
Yes.
Yay. What keeps you patient and committed through slow progress?
I know. Yeah, that's again a gospel principle. Love God and love your neighbor. So I no need to be angry with anybody else in the world. Because if I want to teach somebody, I wanted to love that person first before I teach the person. So if you love anybody, anyone, you don't get upset with anyone. So whether they do it fast or whether they do it slow, doesn't matter. So the principle is what helped me to be patient to anyone who wants to accomplish or to want to multiply their talents. So this is what back of my mind when I started teaching you music. First, I loved you all. Then I thought you are children of God. You have several abilities. So I just wanted to be an instrument in God's hand to help you magnify that talent. So that made me be patient all the time. Yeah, sometimes as a human being, you may lose your temper or patience. but I can calm myself. The gospel principles help me a lot to be patient.
And as a mother, to find somebody else who's patient with your children, that's amazing. That's a blessing. So thank you.
Not a lot of people are patient.
Yep, it's hard to find people that are willing to be patient, especially when we're a little extra slower than the others, right?
Yeah. How can music helps individuals with special needs or neurological challenges?
I think I've just read so many articles online. Learning music helps your brain a lot, and especially, as you said, neurobiological challenges. And I'm not a doctor, as I said it before, but there are loads of article in online like music is a therapy. It helps human who have challenges, neurobiological challenges.
Yes, thank you.
What would you say to families who aren't sure if their child can do something like piano?
Believe in them. Simple like that. Believe in them, because they may have some hidden talents. So if they allow their kids to explore, they have to send their kids to the professionals to find out whether they have some hidden talents. I'm sure the teachers can find out the hidden talent with the children than the parents, because sometimes parents, they give their best to their children, food, clothing, shelter, everything. But from my point, the teachers can find the ability within them. So the parents have to take their kids to the teachers, the drum music or sports or art or music. So they will find it out. So they have to take their children to the professionals.
Or bring them virtually into your home.
Yeah, why not? Yes,
No, that
we
actually
can try.
works out.
Nothing wrong in trying, because you just allow your kids to learn art. You send the teacher, if they get it, let them continue. Allow them to go to music online or any skill, so they can just try it out. Nothing wrong in trying.
And that's what is so exciting today. It's 5-6 years of doing
Yeah.
it virtually online. At this
Exactly.
piano on a little tiny phone, and now he's sitting right by us at our piano. And this
Exactly. Yeah.
almost feels like a dream. He's
Exactly.
visiting.
Staying
Yeah.
in distant land, we were able to achieve. Yeah. So thanks to technology as well.
Yes.
Yeah, we're grateful about technology. We finally get to meet again in person. What has this been like?
We're all excited. We never thought that this would happen. I have to pinch myself. Am I here in the USA? Yes. I'm talking to you in person.
First time we met in Paris.
Now
we're in
the USA. You were all tiny when I met you in Paris. Now you're all grown up kids. So excited. I'm so super excited. I never thought that I would come and meet you all in person. So
Yeah,
this is such a privilege
me
for me
too.
and my family.
Well, I think even meeting you and finding you was a miracle. Because
Exactly.
you've been a huge blessing to our family. I mean, if we didn't happen to be in Paris at that time and get to meet you, I feel like you've answered a lot of our prayers and a lot of our struggles that not a lot of people have been willing to address or be patient with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I strongly believe the Lord connects people. Yeah. So why did I meet you in Paris? Why should I meet you in Paris? Because I should be part of your life.
Yes.
So the Lord wants me to be there to meet you, I know, at the outside at the temple grounds. So maybe after a few years you thought about this. Then you asked me whether I can teach music for your kids. So this is how we got connected with each other.
And he mentioned it back then in 2018 with just a simple story that pricked my heart. But in my mind, I was like, no one's patient with my kids. No one. And I had that same question as earlier, like my kids can't do that, but I wanted to try. So, and when the physical therapy, speech therapy, all the therapies went away during COVID, and my kids were just kind of stagnant, and I was their only teacher, which I don't mind teaching, but sometimes as a mother, it's hard to find, to be the teacher too and the parent. And so I did. I reached out on a simple message, expecting a no, actually.
Exactly. I strongly believe learning music, especially playing piano, helps you to improve your coordination, because your brain thinks your children may not express it. Your brain thinks your children may not do it because their hand or leg doesn't help them. So you have to just work on that area, the coordination part. Brain thinks and the body moves. So I think learning piano, it helps them a lot.
Yes, I agree. And our friend that had a stroke at one time, you were able to help him as well.
Exactly, yeah.
And he was in his 60s or 70s at the time.
70s adult student, yeah. He did a good job.
Yeah.
We've been trying. If he had tried for another year or two, I'm sure that he would have played better. But unfortunately, he's not anymore.
Do you believe anyone can learn music in their own way?
I'm sure, because God is not a respecter of person. He has given talent to one person like a lot and another person nothing. No, everyone has been given talents, so according to their several abilities. So anybody can learn not just music, any other skills in their own way, because we are all God's children. So God loves everyone, and He has blessed all these talents with everyone.
Just got to find it.
What does this journey mean to you personally?
Yeah, this journey, I would call mortal journey. Yeah, you live in this world approximately 70 or 80 years old. So what do? We have to just follow these two great commandments as long as we live in this life. Love God means keep His commandments all the time, and love our neighbor. Love our neighbor doesn't mean just we go and hug them and say I love you all the time. Like how you serve them matters, professionally or maybe voluntarily. So that may be my answer.
I love that. The United States is your neighbor in India.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Through technology.
Technology, yes.
Thank you.
What would you say to parents who feel like progress is slow?
Yeah. So I would say to parents, to win the race or you receive winner doesn't matter. Whether you complete the race is what matters. So a smart kid can learn things in 5 minutes, but even the lower achievers can learn the same thing after 15 minutes. So you should allow them, the parents should allow their kids to take time. You don't tell them, oh, you are too slow, you won't get it. No, don't discourage them. So they will learn if they have desire. What I need from parents, just an encouragement.
Encouragement.
Yeah, encouragement is the key, because when parents say, because they believe, they trust in their parents, where do they get that trust from? Only from the parents. So parents should encourage their kids.
Even if it takes years to learn how to do it.
Yeah, they will do it. Yeah, if they like it, they will do it. Practice makes them perfect.
Yep.
Yep.
Team.
What encouragement would you give to kids who are trying something that feels hard?
Don't give up. Simple. Just don't give up. Practice, practice, practice.
Yep. Forward is forward.
Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
If you believe you can play the piano, then you should believe it too.
Yep. Believe in yourself. Yeah.
Believe in yourself.
You can do.
If you do that, you can do anything. What does music mean to you beyond just playing?
That's an interesting question, because God has blessed us with many blessings. This beautiful earth, nature, animals, birds, family, and technology, and many other things. I I think one of the greatest gift the Lord has given to us is music. This is from heaven. So we all know that heavenly hosts are singing glory to God, right? In the celestial world. I think that's the greatest gift that God has given to us. We have to appreciate that. You have to listen to music and you have to appreciate music for the blessing that God has given to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your gift and your heart with us. You helped us grow in ways that go far beyond music, and we are so grateful.
I should also thank you for the opportunity to be part of your life.
You're welcome. Thank you. If your family wondering what's possible for yourself or your child, we hope this episode reminds you that growth can happen in ways you might not expect. To learn more about our mission or connect for support, visit www.marrowbuds.org. Thank you for listening, for believing in, for supporting people of all abilities. And as always, so let's be friends. If you're listening, thank you for being a part of this. We are excited to share more stories and more truths and more love in every episode. Until next time, love one another, and like I say, so let's be friends.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Good job, you guys.